Welcome to the Character Advantage podcast, where sport and the human spirit collide. Because the game will end, but the growth lasts forever. The scoreboard is temporary, the heart is forever. Here's your host, Coach Dan Williams.
Welcome to the Character Advantage podcast, where we help parents and support athletes to win from the inside out. I'm Coach Dan Williams, and today we're starting a new series on attitudes, the inner postures that shape how athletes respond when pressure shows up. And we're starting where leadership always begins, courageous conviction. But before I do that, I want to share a little bit of why I focus on attitudes. When parents enter their child into the elite sports journey, they usually believe that the path forward is simple. Train harder, get better coaching, play on the right team, and get seen by the right people. But the longer you stay on this road, the more you realize the journey isn't linear. It's chaotic. Coaches change, roles shift, injuries happen, confidence rises and falls. The scoreboard tells a different story every week. In that kind of environment, skills matter, but they're not enough. That's why my focus is attitudes. An athlete's attitude walks with them into every environment. New teams, new coaches, new roles, new pressure, new levels. You can't control the system your athlete enters, but you can shape how they respond inside it. Attitudes determine how an athlete handles adversity, how they respond to feedback, whether pressure sharpens or shatters them, whether confidence becomes entitlement or quiet strength. Skills open doors, but attitudes decide what happens once they walk through them. The elite pathway isn't chaotic because it's broken. It's chaotic because it's competitive, human, and relational. Every chaotic moment forces a decision. Do I blame or take ownership? Do I shrink or lean in? Do I resist or adapt? Do I quit internally or recommit? Those decisions are not skill decisions. They are attitude decisions. When parents help athletes work on attitudes, chaos becomes feedback instead of failure, delay instead of defeat, pressure instead of panic. Attitudes turn uncertainty into information. Parents often feel powerless because they can't control playing time, lineups, recruiting timelines, coaches' opinions. But attitudes give parents a place to work instead of worry. You can help your athlete practice coachability instead of defensiveness, ownership instead of excuses, resilience instead of resentment, gratitude instead of entitlement. That's real development. That's influence that lasts. When two athletes have similar talent, the separator is often never effort alone. It's how they carry themselves under pressure. You see, attitudes transform talent into consistency, effort into resilience, confidence into composure, and potential into reliability. Coaches trust athletes whose attitudes are predictable under stress. Teammates follow athletes whose attitudes stabilize the environment around them. And athletes themselves thrive when their inner world is aligned. That's why attitudes don't just shape character. They unlock performance. The greatest gift a parent can give an athlete isn't control or protection. It's clarity. Attitudes give parents a language to coach without micromanaging, to support without rescuing, to challenge without damaging trust. Instead of arguing about outcomes, you talk about responses. Instead of reacting to the chaos, you shape direction. That's how parents move from being anxious on the sidelines to becoming steady guides on the journey. The elite sports pathway will always be uncertain. Attitudes are what allow an athlete to remain grounded when things go wrong, teachable when things go right, resilient when progress slows, and whole when the journey gets hard. That's why I work on attitudes. Because in a chaotic system, what's formed on the inside is the only thing that compounds on the outside. And I don't speak about the elite sports journey as a commentator. I speak as someone who has lived it from every angle. I'm a former college athlete and longtime coach. But more importantly, I'm a parent who walked the full elite sport pathway alongside my child. My daughter competed as a Division I athlete on a 4-year scholarship. That outcome didn't happen by accident. I started working with her when she was 7 years old, long before scholarships, rankings, or recruiting conversations ever entered the picture. And like most parents, I began with hopes and questions. How far can she go? How hard do I push? How do we protect joy while pursuing excellence? Those questions shaped everything that followed. And since 2000, I've worked with athletes and families navigating the pathway to college athletics. I've helped athletes earn scholarships, make teams, survive setbacks, recover from injuries, navigate coaching changes, and transition out of sport with clarity and confidence. But here's what matters most to me and why parents trust my voice. I've lived the tension between potential and time. I've felt the pull toward control as a parent. I've made mistakes. I've learned when to push and when to get out of the way. And I've learned firsthand that when talent levels are equal, character becomes the separator. And that's why I created the Character Advantage Framework, not as a theory, but as a survival guide for parents and athletes inside today's intense sports culture. My work is for parents who want more than a resume, more than exposure, more than outcomes. It's for parents who want to help their athlete pursue the next level without losing themselves, their joy, or their values along the way. Because the scoreboard is temporary, the heart is forever. Now, today I want to talk about courageous conviction. Now, we all know leadership requires courage, not bravado, not hype, not pretending you're unshaken. Real courage is cultivated. And when courage runs out, leadership hits a ceiling. For athletes, courage isn't about chest-thumping confidence. It's the quiet choice to move forward when certainty disappears. Courage is staying present when emotions rise. It's asking the hard question even when your voice shakes. It's holding your ground when the outcome isn't guaranteed. Courage says, we're going to find a way through this, even when the path isn't visible yet. And that's not recklessness. That's resilience with direction. That's courage with purpose. And here's the key for parents and athletes. Athletes don't learn courage from speeches. They learn it by watching how we handle uncertainty. And you don't have to wait for a crisis to build courage. Courage is formed in ordinary moments, the ones that wobble just enough to make us want to pull back. So this week, try staying with the hard work a little longer. I want you to do these 3 things. 1, ask the question you're afraid to ask. The honest check-in. The direct conversation. The quiet, are you still in love with what you do? Clarity is one of courage's closest companions. 2, don't apologize for the need to know. When it's the right time, based on trust, it will be plain to see that they want you to check in. So when you ask how things are going, don't shrink it with disclaimers. You're not imposing. You're inviting participation in something meaningful. 3, stay present after a hard moment. After the tough practice, that difficult meeting with the coach, the emotional game. This isn't a time for you to satisfy your need to know. Just try to connect by being present. You see, trust doesn't grow during tension. It grows in the moments after tension when you stay available. Now, there is more to the Character Advantage framework. In the next episode, we'll continue the Attitude series by exploring humble coachability and why teachability is one of the strongest competitive advantages an athlete can develop. So until then, stay present, stay grounded, and choose courage on purpose.